Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? It's a disgusting day to wake up when the Saints lose a game in the manner in which they did. I mean, losses happen in the NFL, but when you lose in the manner in which the Saints did against Atlanta, 26-24, a game where you didn't allow your opponent to score an offensive touchdown, and you scored 24 points, to lose that game is just absolutely inexcusable. It's just the third time in the history of the NFL that's happened, where a team has scored at least 24 points, not allowed an offensive touchdown to their opponent, and lost. So you are in some major hall of shame with how you lost that game on Sunday. Undeniably, though, there were good performances, and we got to highlight them both. First is Taysom Hill, who in the first half not only scored 2 touchdowns, but you saw the effectiveness in short yardage. You had a 3rd and 1, a play that was bottled up at the line of scrimmage. You just kept working toward the line to the right and ultimately got upfield, found his crease, broken arm tackle, and got the first down. It's fair to say, I know a lot of people asked about the Eagles game. If you had Taysom in those short yardage situations, would it have made a difference? Absolutely. It's fair to say. I mean, he's, if nothing else, it gives you options. It's someone that a defense has to account for when you break the huddle and come to the line of scrimmage. You can go single wing with Taysom. You could put him at running back, at fullback, at tight end. I mean, there's so many. You could throw him the ball. He could throw the ball. So, yes, I mean, it absolutely makes a difference. Does it change the outcome of the game against Philly? I don't know. Does the outcome of the game against Atlanta change if Taysom is out there? I can't say definitively that would be true either, because the Saints did succeed at the end of the game in the short yardage situation when Kamara got the go-ahead touchdown with a minute left. I don't know how much different the second half might have been, but Dennis Allen was asked that question, how Taysom impacted the game.
Well, look, I mean, you lose a player like that, it affects you, but I still think we had enough guys on the field that could have made enough plays to give us a chance to win.
It's true, you did. You had to come up with a stop at the end of the game and not give them 2 touchdowns, but that's what you did. Dennis Allen did meet with reporters on Monday, and he was asked if he thinks they're overusing Taysom Hill.
I think we got to keep that in mind, and I think I've said that for the last couple of years. You're talking about a guy that's, he's had some injuries in the past, and he's still an effective player. He's getting a little older, but he's still an effective player, and so I think we got to be mindful as to how many times we're running him into the briar patch.
We do lose sight of it because he's been so good. Taysom Hill is 34 years old. Like we talk about the NFL lifespan of a running back, and I understand he's not a running back by trade, but we talk about running backs falling off the hill at age 30. He's 34 years old, and he has gone through some injuries because he plays a very physical style of football. In his career, Taysom Hill has 412 rushing attempts in 95 games played. So roughly on average, 4 to 5 carries a game. That's 4.5 carries a game, which doesn't feel like it's overuse. The most attempts he's had in a season was the 2022 season. He carried the ball 96 times. So he's never even carried it 100 times on a season. And I have massive amounts of respect for Taysom Hill. As I've said for a long time, the humility to be a quarterback, to want to play quarterback, but to have a career because you are willing to do something other than that to have a career. It's quite literally the thing I said about Tim Tebow when he was coming out of Florida. I know the Broncos used a first-round pick on him, but Tim Tebow could have been Taysom. He could have been an up back. He could have been a personal protector. He could have been a gunner. He could have crushed it on special teams. He could have run single wing. He could have done everything Taysom does. Tight end, fullback, H-back, all of it. But he wanted to be a quarterback, and it cost him his career. Taysom had the humility to do it, and he's tough as hell. That dude had a bruised lung, man. A bruised lung, and went out there and still played really hard and got in the end zone for you twice. I don't know that they're overusing Taysom. I think Dennis Allen's answer is right. You got to be mindful of it, but I mean, he hasn't had more than 6 rushing attempts in a game in the season, and that was Sunday against Atlanta. Week 1 against Carolina, he ran the ball 5 times. Against Dallas, he ran the ball 3 times. And then, of course, he didn't play against Philly and then ran the ball 6 times on Sunday against Atlanta. I don't think it's overuse or misuse. He's just a 34-year-old player that's playing a very physical position and role in this offense. The other person that deserves his flowers and an unlimited amount of respect is Alvin Kamara. Not only for the way he played against the Atlanta Falcons, but the way he has played in every game this year, especially considering his circumstance. Remember, Alvin Kamara spent this entire offseason asking the team for a contract extension. For not long-term security, but longer-term security. And y'all, I'm going to sit here right here and tell you, I believe the New Orleans Saints did the right thing, given the information they had in not extending Alvin Kamara. We talked about it, y'all. He's a 29-year-old running back who the last 3 years has declined in production. That is a fact. And he has not been able to stay healthy. That's not a knock on Alvin Kamara. It's just the reality. You don't pay players on what they did. You pay players on what you're projecting they will do. And Kamara hasn't played a full season since his rookie year. I mean, last year he missed 4 games. So do you want to commit long term? I don't want to get too deep in that conversation. I understand the Saints' decision. But Alvin Kamara has still showed up despite not having that long-term security, and he's played his ass off this year. And Dennis Allen, after the game, said everything right about Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, the same thing I would say that he's been, ever since he showed back up for training camp, he's been awesome. He's been outstanding. He's probably been our best offensive player. He's done a really good job for us, and we're going to need him to continue to do that.
He has more rushing touchdowns through 4 games than he did all of last year. So, yes. And by the way, he's already at 80 rushing attempts. He had 15 against Carolina, 20 against Dallas, 26 last week against Philly when you didn't have Taysom Hill, and then playing with a hip pointer and busted ribs. Alvin Kamara went out there, ran the ball 19 times, and caught it 7 more. He had 26 touches on a day where he was playing with a hip pointer and busted ribs. Hat tip to Alvin Kamara. If anybody on that team deserved better than what the result was, it was Alvin Kamara. If there's any reason to be optimistic about this team moving forward, it's because of guys like Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. The reason to be pessimistic is who the head coach and the quarterback are, because this is still a league that is driven by head coach quarterback. Derrick Henry, you could argue, has been the best running back in the league during the course of his decade. He's certainly been in that conversation. What's it gotten him as far as team success? It's all about coach quarterback. And while I got tremendous respect for Alvin Kamara, tremendous respect for Taysom Hill and the jobs that they've done, playing hurt, playing through injuries, the limitations on this team are that the things you need to be the integral part of getting you to a championship level are not there for this team. So you're always going to have that lower ceiling as long as Dennis Allen's a coach and Derek Carr is a quarterback. Because you're not going to be able to win a game against Philly in your building where you lose Eric McCoy, the pass rush is coming, you need your quarterback to just load the team on his shoulders, go win the game. Can't do it. You're on the road in Atlanta. Your defense literally doesn't allow a touchdown. But you give them 7 points on special teams, and then your veteran quarterback commits one of the stupidest pick sixes you'll ever see. Trying to get cute with the ball, throwing it into a mess of people around the line of scrimmage. It gets deflected up, picked, and you're changing the scoreboard. Feel bad for him, man. I respect him tremendously. It's worth highlighting the job that they've done, and it's a reason for optimism because you got those guys on your team. But you can't help but also have that gnawing feeling in your guts of knowing that there's limitations on this team because of Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. It's just a fact. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.